Welcome back. And this is another episode of Made in the 1980s. I am your host, as always, and they call me Camp from the Port. And I have my special guest who I try to keep out of the danger zone, try to keep him out of my way of just nonsense and wildness and madness. But hey, sometimes it just finds him. But I'll let him introduce himself to you right now.
It's your boy, Wayne Dane Doodle, aka Lazy Leroy.
Lazy Leroy, you know what I'm saying? Please of the damn doodle. Hey, but Lazy Leroy, that has layers.
Oh
Is
yeah,
this just a lazy day?
it's just a
Or
lazy day.
okay, I dig it. I
Woke
dig it.
up, was like, you know what? Self care,
I
nice
dig
hot
it.
shower, hoodie, some pajama pants, Crocs,
Sport mode off or on for the young ones.
sport mode off.
Yeah, you're
See,
not
I
doing
may
anything.
just want to kick these bitches off, and swing my legs across the couch like Freaky Zeke. You got never to lay.
like he was shot. Oh. Oh man.
I want to be able to pull that one off effortless.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Man, today's topic, man. I was gonna do this one by myself, but the conversation I had with the missus was actually so good that not only will we do this episode again, I do well, depending on the experience or depending on how heavy it gets, I would like to incorporate more people, potentially a couple women, because obviously growing up in the 80s, that means you were potentially an adolescent or a teen in the 90s. There was a lot of imagery we were sold. I think we're definitely not the first generation of sex sells by far. We're nowhere near that. But I do believe when we were teenagers, that's when sex became the most profitable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that was the time where it was like, oh shoot, you can make a lot of money doing this. Okay, well then we're gonna do this thing. Like I think that's what happens.
I think it was just that it was more acceptable.
Okay.
Like think about it. Like you go back to one that I know everybody, knows.
Mhm.
The the TV show Wonder Woman.
Mm.
Like that it was, oh my God, it's so revealing.
Yeah.
The late 90s, mid 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s, MTV Spring Break, everybody was naked.
Yeah. Yep.
Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah.
You
I
wasn't
mean,
getting that in the 80s.
yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. That was something that was unheard of at that time. And matter of fact, you know what? That this is I love that you said that because you do have Wonder Woman, and you have like Farrah Fawcett, right? And that is almost the bar for like sexy. And is this too much? Is this too hot?
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to speak for our white listeners here, but I want to say that, you know, for me, it was specifically Janet Jackson's If video. And then we raise it up a notch when we get to the Lil Kim hardcore poster
Yes.
with the fat cat on the little woman, who was gorgeous, by the way. Iconic imagery. I'm man enough to admit, ladies and gentlemen, that when I seen hardcore the poster, I knew I wanted to lose my virginity. I knew I wanted to lose it to a woman. And I ain't gonna front, I did want it to be Lil Kim. I'm not gonna lie to you. But my 1A, oh, what a hell of an option. But we're not here to talk about that, at least not on this episode. What I want to talk about today, as we talk about that time, going back to that time of the 90s. We're going to talk 90s today because we were children. We were real children in the 80s. By the 90s, we were teens, and they call it gangster rap is out of control. And now we're well aware of what Doggy Style is. We're well aware of what Two Live Crew represents. We're well aware of Akinelli drops a classic in my mind. Put it in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? In your motherfucking mouth. You did. And there are so many images, so many things. And it made me ask this question. And the missus and I, we did talk about this as well. But we'll start it right here. We'll just get right to it. What do Black parents teach you about sex? And I you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the three you shoot and just let the hand stay up because, hey, will that go in or not? That's what she said. And you kind of want to just have that moment where you're like, what do Black parents teach you about sex? Because I'm going to speak from one woman's perspective and loosely and vaguely when I say I was told that she was given like boundaries or rules, but she was never really given like conversation and information about that day that she actually wanted to or would possibly engage in any kind of sexual activity.
My experience was exactly like hers.
Wow. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere.
My experience was exactly like hers. Okay. My stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
I bullshit you not. This is the only information that he gave me. Okay. And I don't hold it against him because him and my mom separated when I was still in the 5th grade.
Okay.
So sex wasn't something that was entertaining like that. Like I want to ride my bike. I just got a new pair of rollerblades. I'm out here doing this.
Right.
But he always used to tell me, son, eat your eggs. As a kid, I hated eggs.
Okay.
The smell of eggs made me nauseous. I hated eggs as a kid. But the way he would try to encourage me to eat my eggs is he would tell me, eating eggs puts lead in your pencil.
Ah, okay. And you want to do a lot of writing, I guess.
So that was his way of encouraging me to eat eggs. Now, outside of that, like I said, I was young and wasn't ready for that conversation to be had. Only 11, 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to my mom, because my stepdad isn't around and my real dad isn't around, my mom was like, outside of the obvious, wear a condom. I don't want no babies. Don't bring no babies to my house conversation. She pushed that buck off on my brother and my big cousins.
Wow. Okay.
So, without going too far into detail, because it's way too early for that, I'll let you guess how my sex conversations were had. Yeah.
And I'm glad we're going to sidebar and then I'm going to give my perspective as well. The 90s were a special time for everybody that may not have been there, right? Or if you were a baby, like if you were 3 years old by 97, you don't get what we about to say here. You have no idea how special of the time that we're talking about when we say You were a special time. When 1990 was here, I was 9 years old. Okay. By 1999, I was 18. When I tell you that the 90s were a special time, especially with all the imagery and the sex and all this. And if you were cool enough, I'll say, because I don't have any older brothers by my mother. Shout out to my older brother Edmund, though. And I did have older cousins, and I just got other cousins that maybe just grew up a little more rougher than you did, right?
Right.
And it's always interesting because if you're cool enough to be the young one hanging out with the older cousins, you're just privy to just the smash mouth, aggressive nails on the chalkboard, gravel road explanation of everything with everything. And your older brother, your older cousin, they're gonna be like, hey man, so I heard you like girls, man. How you feel about it? They're not gonna ask you that. No. They're gonna be like, oh, you trying to get you some pussy, little nigga?
You ain't fucking that.
Yeah. You ain't fucking, you don't even know what to do with that dick. Whoa, wait, yo, hold on, man. I just like holding hands at the swing, bro. That's enough for me right now. I'm 9. I am 10 years old. I am 11. I am cool with walking to Edie's, walking to Okie Dokie with the girl I think is attractive. That is fine with me. I don't need to do anything else.
I got a few extra bucks in here. Let me go to Okie Dokie, get her favorite cookie.
That's it.
Little can of soda. We out of here.
Right. She can watch me ride my bike, or play football, or she can ride her bike with me. Don't matter. But they're never going to give you the sound, logical advice that you need or that you're even searching for, that you may be searching for. Never going to do that. It's always going to lead to some, yeah, man, you try to get some pussy? Like, whoa. I didn't even know it was called that. Sorry. Like, what are you talking about? Are they $3 for $1? I don't even know. Like, what are you doing? It doesn't. So man. So and I think all young males and look, and we're not caping for the 90s and anything that we've learned. We're just telling you our experience here.
I mean, like this is crazy though, because I was watching about a month or so ago the situation that happened with DJ Academics on Twitch.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, like Buddy was mad out of line.
Yeah, super flagrant.
Super fucking out of line. But Joe Budden podcast talked about it. And Queen's Flip said, like, but this was shit that happened in the hood. Yeah. Like those conversations, like I lived those conversations by the older cats in the hood. Like I'm not justifying it, but like they came at, like they really goddamn it. Like you could tell when a motherfucker goddamn know the bag might be compromised.
Yeah,
because they let that young man out to the dry.
Yeah, but absolutely.
This was what I'm sitting there listening to Flip talk, and I'm like, the nigga's not wrong.
Yeah, he wasn't wrong at all.
I'm not saying that it was okay. I'm not saying what our big cousins and how they were acting. No, it's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what the fuck this is what we were presenting.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, and this is not for us to distribute blame, but that kind of thing is happening. What Flip said was really real, and how academics treated it was very real, because our parents didn't really talk to us about sex.
They didn't.
It's no beef with me and my pops. I want to be clear. It's no beef with me and my pops, but he taught me absolutely nothing. Nothing about sex. He didn't teach me anything other than I got older brothers and sisters and younger brothers. That's the only thing I've learned from. And none of them are with my mom. That's the only thing I know from, right, as far as sex goes. My mom, who's hilarious, See, okay, Bob, I'm sorry. I gotta tell this the right way. I have to tell this the right way. The only thing close that my mom has taught me about sex, as far as like conversation, is when she thought she saw me masturbating in the room. But of course, being who she is, she trying to roast me. She was like, "Well, you ain't in there humping your hands, are you?" I'm like, yo. Like, I was like, yo, why would you do that to me? But and then as I get older, and look, and I'll give my mom this. You know what? One thing I'll give my mom, in case that story was too embarrassing for her, but I mean, I didn't want us to be embarrassed. I'm the one she's talking about. But you know how parents get. Oh, I didn't say that to you like that. No, you did. You did. I'll never forget. Like that. And some other moments are just TMI. I just won't share them. But I will say this: my mom was trying to put me on game early in her own special way, because she would be more aware of girls that liked me than I was, to the point where I thought she was bugging out. I'm like, yo, like I don't even know this girl. She was like, no, that girl, she's trying to get your attention. Like that girl is sitting like this for you. This girl is saying this because of you. And I'm like, yo, come on. Yo, come on, chill. It's not even like that. Like, cause she would say something, right? Or like, it would be that. But once I got my first real girlfriend, somebody that I am super cool with to this very day, too, by the way. She was when she felt it was getting serious, the conversations changed. And it wasn't really a lookout for her, but it was more of the angle of, okay, just in case, and maybe for my mom's sake, just in case you a little too much like Ricky, I need you to hear this. And her hear this was, hey, don't believe nothing these girls tell you. I don't care if they tell you they on the pill. I don't care if they tell you that they can't have kids. I don't care if they tell you they don't want to have kids. You protect yourself at all times. Don't get out here and be getting all these girls pregnant because you believe them. He was like, do not believe these girls. I was like, all right, okay, mom, got it. And that was literally my talk. It was totally like not about relationship, not about love, not about companionship, none of that. I'll say I got lucky as far as losing my virginity. I have the greatest story of all time. And I don't think I should. I don't know. I do want to share it one day, but maybe not this episode. But I have the greatest virginity loss story of all time. And it's so great that I have shared it with previous partners or love interest. And they're like, wow, my shit was not like that at all. I'm jealous. And I'm like, yeah. And these are women. And you know how hard it is for women to be like, oh, I got one up on this. No, it was like, no, that's great. I was like, yeah. So the bar is high. The bar for a lot of things are high for me because of how my teenage love went. It's super high because of that.
That's dope though. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
But I will say the OG gave you some solid ass advice.
Facts.
Even though that's the only advice.
Right.
That shit was solid.
Yeah, hey, I got all the way to 28 with that advice. I got all the way to 28. 29 if we being technical.
Yeah, dude, that advice was solid. And based off of previous conversations, it wasn't just being said one ear and out the other. You let it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And especially when I left Freeport. Then I was like, oh, this what she talking about. Because I had my first pregnancy scare at like 20 or 21. It was super cap, but I didn't know that, So I'm thinking, damn, my mom just told me this, and look what happened. So now I'm mad at myself. Come to find out, not real. I'm like, and then that was just like, okay, yeah. Because hey, look, I was on my silk the shocker for a long time, except for that with this particular person that never go bare. I don't care, Mr. Call me like safe sex. That was my shit. I did it. And so I was just like, yeah, because my mom said, don't believe any of these girls. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care how much they say they love you. I don't care how much they say they into you or you don't need it. You need it. So never not have it. And I was just like, it sounded so extreme at 15. It sounded so extreme at 15. But man, by the time I got to 22, I was like, my mom was kicking some real shit.
Hey, your mama should have sat down and talked to Anthony Edwards.
Hey, man, you dig? Save him a lot of headache. You know what I'm saying?
But then, hey, shout out to Miles, goddamn, because she hit you. Hey, if you only gonna hit me with one, do a good one.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The bars are the bars.
Don't hit me talking about some goddamn eggs. Some shit that I can actually use in life.
Yeah, facts. Because man, and as we transition about what our parents taught us about sex, I do want to now ask the question because I thought it was great to start there. Where what did our parents teach us? And even though I jumped the gun a little bit, but I can circle the block here. And plus, I want to hear from you as well. With the egg analogy for the lead and the pencil analogy, did that affect your first time? And if so, how?
Okay. I kind of don't know how to answer that question.
Okay.
Because my first time I was SA. So I don't really know. It's like I know what happened, but it's like that's it. Like I can't break down an experience.
Right.
So if we fast forward, because we're not going to make this a dark episode.
Yeah.
My first time actually engaging willfully.
Yes, I know, yes.
I will say no, it did not. Because neither one of us knew what the fuck we was doing.
Right.
Like literally, we were two fish out of water trying to figure out life. Like it was thinking back on it, it was a horrible experience.
Wow.
Because for one, I didn't finish because what the fuck I was doing. Like exaggerating, but not exaggerating. It took me 15 minutes to figure out how to put the condom on.
Hey, listen. Hey, no. Condoms are the real Rubik's Cube of teenagers.
Like
if you worried about doing it right.
Hey, like bullshit, you're not. I'm gonna give you full detail without giving too much detail. Condom. Blue and white lifestyle.
There you go. Hey, courthouse. Shout out to the Stevenson County Courthouse.
Courthouse joint. Boom. Crack the motherfucker open. I unrolled the whole thing.
Are you trying to put it like a sock? Oh man.
So after I unroll it, and it had the lube on it already, so it's slippery to the motherfucker. So I done balled it back up. Open the motherfucker.
Oh no, that was a Scully. Now you playing it like the first Scully. Hey,
I
yo,
put that motherfucker on like a winter cap.
it's much cold out here. Oh man, too funny.
She didn't know that there because
Yeah, hey, yeah,
she just sitting there, just okay. Maybe it's supposed to take this long, you know?
yeah.
So after I figured it out,
Right,
meaning that I got it on eventually,
right.
now it's kind of just like awkward now because it's like
I never really put this joker in nowhere.
like so now we just sitting on the bed, dick out, condom on,
Right. Like ready, but like, hey, all right, but
like, so what's the next move? Like, so now we just sitting there in this awkward ass silence for like 10, 15 minutes. You know,
oh man.
I do like put it like this. We was in the room having sex for an hour.
Hey, work.
Oh, we were in there for an hour.
No.
I mean, probably about 52 minutes of it was actual complete total mental ignorance. So I'm in, and then it's like, now what? Because I'm gonna tell you how green I was. I didn't know what an orgasm was. I just thought you were supposed to go in there, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And just whatever you stop, you just stopped, and everybody just part ways.
No fact.
There was like a point of finish. So it was like the mission wasn't even complete.
Like you were just involved in the mission.
I was just involved in the mission.
It's like on GTA when you start going into the joint, but then all of a sudden you just start killing people on the block and just start collecting all the money, and all of a sudden the police are after you. It's like, wait, oh shit, I was supposed to complete. I got to go rob somebody. That's part of the actual story.
You know, what's the saying? I came, I saw, I conquered.
Yeah.
I came, I saw. I went home. There was no conquering.
Oh man, too funny.
But
man.
that also comes with, like I said, nobody was in my ear saying good or bad, but outside of the big homies, big cousins, you ain't fucking no. You ain't get no pussy no. You don't know what to do with that pussy. Like you say, you don't even know what to do with your dick.
It's like, okay, well, damn it.
Y'all not even putting me up on game about nothing outside of what I ain't done yet and what I can't do with it.
Right. Like you're helpless. Like you're no help at all. Like, bro, I'm trying to get somewhere here.
I left that young lady's house thinking like my brother was right. I don't know what I'm doing with this thing.
It's like, yeah, thanks for your help. Oh man.
I really don't know what I'm doing.
That's funny. That is funny. So yeah, we're the second time is definitely the story that we'll keep today. But that's it's funny because of our boundaries, rules, advice, or lack thereof. I think we all kind of approach it differently because we obviously get into that state to where we like girls, right? Or for anybody out there, you like what you like, but we like girls, so we're gonna talk about liking girls. And in that, you just you eventually just know that you want to. At least that's how it was for me. I with no net, I will say this. Thank God for whatever thing he discerns and puts in me, no pause, because it's God. Um, I totally took the approach that I needed to, and that looking back, I can absolutely tell my children if they ever want to know how or why to do it this way, because I I had the luxury, Wang, and I'm going to say the luxury because as I hear more stories, a lot of them they fall in line with the, hey, yo, my first time wasn't that great. My first time was super janky because essay, or it was just like, yo, yeah, thinking back, that was terrible. However, I had the luxury of connecting with a girl, falling in love with that girl, and that girl and I doing absolutely everything together for the very first time.
Mm.
And because I wasn't in a pussy is pussy mode, and we'll talk about that next, because you niggas are disgusting. Oh. and, and since and because I was in the non-toxic 90s R&B, I was in my Boys to Men 2 bag. And that made for the situation to be incredible, and it wasn't instantaneous. I think I started dating this girl by 95, and it was not until 97 until we did what was on both of our hearts as well as our minds. You did. And so for me, I think about that time and I was like, wow, you know what? This is probably why I don't understand gender war content. This is probably why I don't understand why it's so hard to date, because I literally started with no information. I literally started with the, hey, I like this girl. I'm a little shy, but I'm going to tell this girl that I like her. But I didn't. So she told me she liked me. So I told her I like her back. Right. And
However it
then,
works.
you know what I'm saying? However it works. And once we establish that we like each other, then we're just going to be friends and just, connect and talk, even though communication is kind of what ruined that relationship. But we're talking kids, we're talking teenage love here. And so you talk and you visit and you hang out and you just grow together until, like, literally, if I'm giving you my perspective, that was just the next thing for us to do. Like, we had done the movie date, we had done winter formal, we had done the hanging out at the park, walking to or from school, meeting after school, knowing each other's after school activities, talking on the phone for 2 or 3 hours. Like, we just did all of that to the point where it was just like, oh, this is what's next. And then there was that brief period where we were like not together, but you know how kids break up. We weren't. I don't think we were apart that whole summer. But even on the get back, it was like, oh, once the get back happened, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is what's next. Like, and we communicated that, like, yo, I want to do this. I want to do this with you. Like, well, I want to do this with you. Okay, bet. So we're gonna do this. and then there was literal preparation involved. Much, much to your example of condoms. Listen, one, I'm scared to death to go buy condoms because everybody knows my mom or everybody knows my dad, or at least that's what I believe. Because every time I think I get away with something, my mom knows exactly what happened, who was there, and who parents they are. So I'm like, okay, we are toast. Also, my cousin is the principal of the high school that I'm at the time. So that is an extra layer of like, yo. Then my other cousin is across the street, is everybody's favorite black teacher across the street from the high school. I'm like, okay, this is getting difficult. Then you keep like, and then my dad is just this urban legend. There are other people at the high school that know my dad better than me. And it's something I can joke about now, but 14, 15, 16, I was kind of tight about that. I was like, why are you trying to tell me about my dad? Tell him to call me. Tell him to come by. I don't know this nigga. but I went all out. I bought every kind of condom. I acquired them through my cousins or my friends that either everybody knew that they were already having sex or they already had babies on the way. And I was like, well, they're gonna say that you need condoms, so why don't you go buy them for me? See, you gotta be for you youngins that may be a little bored, scared of your parents. I don't know. Y'all young kids, y'all ain't scared of much no more. We were still scared of our parents to a degree as teenagers. But my whole bag was, hey, fam, can you go get me some condoms? Because you already got a baby. So they're gonna say you need to be buying condoms anyway. And then I was like, yo, go to the courthouse. I don't know who my mom know at the courthouse. Grab me, give me a handful of those when you go in there. And then that's how I learned what lubricant and non-lubricant condoms were. And we bought both with the courthouse joints. And it was like, wildly enough, it's a lot like the sex clubs I visited in my time. But we'll save that story for another day as well.
Wow.
But I had everything. I had everything but toys. I wasn't toy savvy then, but I had mad condoms, just like mad different ones. I wasn't sure what fit, what didn't, which one to use, what make her feel better or not. I didn't know. So we just bought everything. And what I remember is laying them on the bed and was like, oh man, so which one should we try first? So in my mind, I'm preparing to be a warrior out the gate. Like I know I'm about to use all of these.
You had a poo-poo platter of condoms, for?
Yes, it was at least 5, and they were not just singles. Yeah, they were not just single packs either. They were at least 3 packs, and a handful of the courthouse joints. And I was just like, okay, so which one should we try first? I think we should try this one first. So me just thinking like, yeah, absolutely. This is what the vibe is. I'm gearing up, thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. We're gonna burn all of these. And shout out to me. You know what I'm saying? 16 years old. I used 3 of them. I used 3. I needed 3. You dig? You know what I'm saying? The first because the first one I was like, oh wow, this is what this feels like. Oh, I went crazy. This is becoming TMI. I'll cut this story short. We'll share this. We'll share these stories in the more intimate group setting for a special pay-per-view episode. I do want to share all of this with you. I really do. Wishful thinking. Might be able to get special guests for that. But But what I want to tell y'all is this. What I can tell y'all right now is this. I am very fortunate that my preparation and my natural instinct to be like, oh, wow, let me fall in love with this girl, to where this is just the natural progression of things. I think that really did help me out a great deal, because even throughout my 20s, even though, and I was gallivanting, a little bit, especially after my grandma put the battery in my back. And she was like, "You can have as many girlfriends as you want." It's like, really? Like I can have one. She's like, "Yeah, you don't." She's like, "Yeah, they're girlfriends." And I was like, "Yo, women don't agree with this at all." But see, now y'all coming around, and I see what y'all doing out there. But yeah, my grandma was always like, I was just say always. We had two real ill conversations, and she was like, "Well, you can have as many girlfriends as you want. You don't have to have like one girlfriend." I was like, "Huh." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "So maybe I just need one wife." Maybe is what. And sure enough, she was kind of living by that model of, hey, single till you're married. But she wasn't out there saying like, "Yo, so now go sling mad meat." She wasn't saying it like that. She was just like, "Don't worry if you don't want to be serious with just one girl, or if you want to see how serious you can be within a couple girls or so." That's how I perceived it to be. And I didn't think that was bad information for me at all.
No, I agree with that. Like once you broke it down, like I agree with it 100%. Now, like I have this theory, and I have some people say, yeah, they agree with my theory, and some people say that my theory is just a bunch of bullshit.
Mhm.
But I genuinely feel like everybody should go through a whore phase.
Mhm.
Go through 20, like yo, high teens to 20s, like when you taking care of your own business.
Mhm.
Go out there and do some dicks. Go out there and fuck some hoes. Because what I've started to see as I got older is men and women that didn't get to experience that whole phase. They locked down with that one person, and they with that one person from 17 to 32. And then they start to realize, like, I haven't experienced anything.
Mhm.
I'm sitting around with the guys, or I'm sitting around with the girls, and they telling me about all of these different actions and maneuvers and positions. And me and this dude been doing missionary for 14 years.
Mm. See?
Now he done got comfortable because that's his norm as well.
Mhm.
And you may offend him by asking, "Hey, can we try this?" Well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with what I've been doing?
This is trash. No, just yeah.
And that's what she's thinking. She's not going to say it out loud, but that's what she's
Mhm.
thinking. Like, I think what we're doing is whack.
Mm.
But if you go out and you get that whole phase out, and you got to do it when you're young, because don't nobody want to be called an old hoe. You got to do it when you're young. Like, think about it. Age 18 to 25. People gonna always give that kid or that young adult the benefit of the doubt in saying
Yeah,
they
you get
just
way
trying to
more.
figure themselves out.
Yeah, you will get way more grace. You
You
will
get
get way more
way
grace.
more grace. And in the society that we grew up in, especially for me, I don't know if you got hit with this one, but for me, the model was fuck bitches, get money.
Oh man, come on, that was one of my favorite
All,
songs.
all you need to be doing out here as a young man is try to get as much pussy as possible and keep some money in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Young
for sure.
women, young women wasn't told that. Young women, they were supposed to be docile and keep you. You supposed to. That's your most prized possession. You keep that treasure locked away. Conversation.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be the problem.
I personally don't believe that. Even in having a daughter, I don't
Hmm.
want to hear about your whole phase, but I won't be shocked if you have one.
Hmm.
I won't be mad if you had one because now you're figuring it out. What I like, what I don't like, what I dislike, what I'll tolerate, what I won't tolerate.
Hmm.
And now you can actually go into a relationship with an open mind saying, this is what I will and won't do, versus just accepting and then finding out 30 years later you missed out on everything.
I feel where you're coming from, and I think a lot of people can identify with that, even though they don't want to say it, right? However, want to I want to counter with a caveat. So it's not a full counter because I do the logic, I absolutely agree. But again, my first time was perfect. I'm jaded. For me, I don't think it's necessarily finding or living through the whole phase. I really don't believe that. Only because of this. I think that you can talk to and vet a person to know exactly what you're getting into, or exactly willing to know what they will do or won't do. So again, jaded. I did everything with one person. First shot. So we break up, we move on. Now I'm not used to girls that don't swallow. I'm not used to girls that aren't, I'm not really into girls that don't even want to consider everywhere I could put this thing. I'm not, I'm trying not to tell too much, but but what I'm saying is, you get the right partner and y'all on the same wavelength. What I've just learned in my life is that I know for a fact, this is off my teenage years, off of all of that. Through my 20s and 20s, I had a very short 30 run, right? But what I've learned is that some girls really aren't hoes, but they'll do anything that you want them to do. And that's kind of been my story. And no disrespect to this brother, if he's ever listening to this, is no disrespect to you. I remember a dude hitting me up, low-key boo-hooing over this girl that he either couldn't hit, wonder why she didn't want to hit, and was under the impression that she trying to not be a freak or whatever. And I definitely got a message from that girl to come over, and she was everything he thought she was. She was everything, and some things that he ain't even thought about.
Okay, so I'm gonna be nosy.
For sure, let's do it.
And feel free to tell me that you're not willing to answer that yet, because of course this conversation is going to go deeper in another time.
For sure.
Where do you get the knowledge? So I'm basing your story off of mine.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
How do you get the knowledge to even think to try this stuff first go around? Because like I said, my first go around was like it wasn't bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not bad at the experience at all, because it's fucking hilarious too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But like I said, my first actual go around where it's consensual was, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
Right.
Did I even do this right? But you went into it with a game plan.
Yeah, I did.
I think that might have been where I dropped the ball. There was like no game plan, because honestly, I think I might have pushed the load off on her. Hoping that she knew what the fuck she was doing.
Yeah, and I took the greatest group project ever approach. It was not on me. It was not on her. We collaborated and voila. Like, but to answer your question, I'm not, the best way for me to put it, how did I have hindsight, mindset, or whatever? To be real, I can't pinpoint it. What I will tell you is this, and I am not speaking from a place of traumatization. I am not speaking at an aspect of like funny business at all. But I was really hip to what sex was like really early on my own. And then when I say really early, I'm talking 8 or 9 years old.
Mm.
And and it wasn't anything that happened to me. It was just some of the things I seen. Something I don't mind sharing because I don't think anybody knows this. But when I shouldn't say the street. When I was younger and we lived on a certain street in Freeport, I happened to be over somebody's house and I was told to look through the keyhole of this door. I looked through this keyhole and my life changed drastically, like forever. Because one, to this day, I still have a crush on this lady I seen. Like, I still have the biggest crush on this lady. And when I seen her again as an adult, it took everything in me not to shoot. It took everything in me not to shoot. Like, yo, you don't even know this, but like in 1980s, I saw you doing this, and I knew I loved you. First of all, I want to be clear on that. And then two, I didn't know that was unlocking oh wow, you're a voyeur. Because I'm a child. I don't know. Because like the thing is, I was watching, and while the other child was kind of like reacting to like some like, oh, nasty girl, I was just like, oh, shoot. Like I was like hypnotized. I couldn't take my eyes off of the action. So then, we Skinamax babies, you
Yeah.
know, uh uh Emmanuel and Dream On and First and 10. So I'm late night watching soft and hardcore porn. You know what I'm saying? Like as a fourth, fifth grader. So I'm like, oh wow. And seeing the thing is, I know for all of you booty talk era babies, that's when porn was getting like too hip hop. A lot of the porn I saw, niggas was making love in that shit. Like, like they was like, oh no, like they wouldn't just ramming chicks. Like they were like finessing and caressing and then blazing them. I was like, oh wow, like yeah, this is fire. I like watching this. I just like watching this. And so for me, I have these images, and even though I'm still a child, as I grow into a teen, I meet this girl I really like. And no joke, it's so funny because we laughed at it as we got older because I remember this day too. One of the first dances we went to, at the end of the dance, dropping her off at the crib, and I was telling her how I want to eat her out. Now look, it's the 90s. We wouldn't, as a progressive sexual being as you kids are now, that's just giving up the mouth music off GP. It wasn't that. First of all, for some reason, if dudes pinned you as the dude that eat coochie, you were almost like an outcast.
Yeah.
So I never shared this with any dudes. But I remember the reaction that my girlfriend had when I was like, yo, I really want to eat you out. She was like, you are so nasty. She was like, you are so nasty. I was like, but I'm serious though. Let me do this to you. And and then I was just off to the races then. And because and literally, and hey, and it's not truly simple because that was my girl. I did it for nothing in return. I literally did it because I was like, yo, I've seen this before. I want to do this to her. She smells so good. And that is it. That was it for me. And I just unlocked that because everything in my mind was willful. Like I was in search of, you know. I would dare I say I've been in more relationships that have suppressed who I truly am as a sexual being, then ignited it. But I also want to say that's why I don't believe in whole phases, because sometimes you're just looking for the energy match. Because you know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it a buck. A lot of people, sex game is garbage or basic. You know what I'm saying? Because mid ain't trash. Mid is just the middle. It's just like, okay, that's cool. We did it. We came, but yeah, it's just getting the job done. Versus like when you really know what you're into and you have a conversation. And I do recommend this too, by the way. Hey, listen, I recommend this for anybody that's looking for somebody, or even if you're already in the relationship that you're in, because it's never too late to start anew and be the person that you want to be with your partner. I do believe by date 3, you can have a very tasteful, direct, and erotic conversation about what you're into and give them the option now to bail out or be like, yo, I always thought about that. We should do that, because you're going to get 2 answers. And I would caution dudes to be like, look, if a girl is turned off or telling you what she's not going to do or telling you that she ain't one of those girls and that's what you want, you got to leave her. I don't care how bad she is. I don't care how much money she got. I don't care about none of that. If she not down for your get down, then you got to leave her, because all you're going to do is keep a reserve space open for the girl that's going to do the things that you want. And then you're going to get rid of her anyway. But you'll look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
If you're in transition. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Women, same thing too. If a dude is approaching you, if you're approaching the guy and the guy's dating you and you tell him like, yo, I'm into this. I like this. I require this. And he like, oh man, I know you was that kind of hoe or whatever. Whatever, if it feels derogatory, if it feels negative, if it feels like, damn, leave. You have to find your sexual energy matches. I'm no doctor. I'm no expert. I'm none of those gurus, anything. But I'm telling you about the life that I have lived. Oh shoot, what was that? I have no trouble. I don't damn, I don't know. Siri got to talking and I forgot what I was saying. I'm not any of those things, but I can tell you from the life that I live that if you're not willing to be honest and communicate within just the infancy stages of your relationship, you will find it very difficult to be consistently sexually satisfied. That's what I was saying.
I agree with you, but I will put this disclaimer on that.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful who you share those experiences with.
Facts.
For multiple reasons. A petty motherfucker may use those sexual experiences against you to make you look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may have just created a stalker.
Yeah, hey, you're right. I'm glad you said that. This is a great segue. You know I'm not the biggest fan of Leon Thomas, right?
Yep.
But Vibes Don't Lie is a very truthful, factual song.
Yes, it is.
If you talk and you talk, you win your bag, male or female, man or woman, if you were offended by the other phrasing. But man or woman, if somebody is giving you the, oh yeah, I'll do that. Catfish. They're not with it. They're not with it. They're the type of person to do something, to your point, to tell you that they did it and they're going to expose you. They're going to screenshot you. That those are the revenge porn lames. Those are those people. The people that like, yeah, they get off in a sense to the fact of, oh, this person did all of this and now I'm going to expose them. No, those people are garbage. Never fuck with them. And the energy will let you know that though. The vibe will be like, yeah, you can do it, and not the, oh, I thought about that and this. See, it's got to be a mutual exchange
Yeah.
because you can't just simply be like, oh, I've never done that, but I would do it. No, nigga. What do you want to do now? Because we're not doing anything if you don't have anything to share. This is a reciprocation. This is reciprocity. If you don't give me something while I'm giving you something, then we'd have no business here. Now, because I'm not a one-night guy, you only get a stalker if you are trying to not commit to that person in whatever way that they desire or require. And I would have told y'all this in my 20s, in my 30s, and even now. The greatest, safest thing that you can do is to find a partner to be peak sexually active in every way that both of you desire and stay with that person. Because without giving y'all too much, when you got that person and you communicated all of this, and if your real passion is to maybe explore it with also that person or those girls or that guy, they'll do it. You won't have to leave. You ain't got a Donnell Jones or you don't have to do it. Like you go if you find yourself in Adina Howard and you're on the Adina Howard time, you do not have to leave that core. I guarantee it.
Especially if you find an Adina Howard.
Facts. And that's what that relationship is reserved for. Those are the kind of women it's reserved for. You know what I'm saying? Like if you, I mean, again, hey, look, we grew up as 90s teens, right? So a lot of what we learn about sex and relations is like faith-based, it's biblical, it's you're gonna go to hell if you use your penis. If you let a man inside of your womb, you'll be condemned to hell. And Black churches and Catholic churches to a degree are extreme and can be extreme in that nature and that rhetoric, right? But at the same time, though, you get out into this world and you really just start talking to people and you really just have common interests and common minds and common conversations. And you're like, wait a minute. I think I found a tribe here. I think I found a tribe on my vibe. Now, all of a sudden, you have a person or persons that are just into what you're into and will give you a safe space to live within that. And that's what everybody's looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what did your Black parents teach you about sex? Probably nothing. So that's why you do got to go out here. And I would say, other than whole phase, because I do get the logic and I feel the logic. But to me, sex is always a mental game first. And the mental and verbal game, the communicating of finding the tribe, finding people that's really down for what you in on. I don't have sex conversations with people that don't reciprocate sex conversation.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're not of the same cloth. We're not of the same ilk. You don't have the same mindset, and that's fine. Let me stop pushing this on you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it will become. But when you again just finding that is a big plus, because then now you get into the liberation, now you get into the freedom, now you get into the, hey, what we do is what we do, and we don't talk about it because we know everybody don't get it.
Yeah.
No,
I have no pushback on that, because that is very important to find somebody. The only thing that makes it hard is when you're a young man and you're encouraged to fuck bitches, get money.
Yep.
you're not training yourself to look for that person that you are just locked in with.
Yep.
You know, like it's how you gonna lock in with one and you have 5?
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't even about the lock in though. It was just
Yeah.
fuck bitches get money.
Let's keep it a buck about some of our young OGs though. Let's keep it a buck about them. When you look back, and even as they talk, they weren't really getting no girls like that. They didn't have hoes like that. Not all of them.
A lot of them, yes, but the one that I idolized, that nigga had bitches and money.
But see, and it's because real gonna always recognize real, right? There's always gonna be one or two. But what I've learned in my time too, the ones co-signing the loudest got the least amount of bitches.
Yes.
Like hey, look, yo, chicks do not feel you, bro. And see, and that is the problem of why we should talk to young people. I want to share a quick story about one of my young homies. I was in broadcasting school at this time. Before we get to our last question, because again, to bring it back, I've never in my lifetime believed pussy is pussy. I've never been one of those type of dudes. To me, that's grimy work, that's nasty work, that's gross work, that scavenger Neanderthal mentality. That means you are just dying for a wet hole to say that you lost your virginity. I do think a lot of guys are borderline virgins that believe in that. And they will never get me off of that hill because I've never seen those dudes with a girl that I actually personally wanted to be with myself.
Yeah.
So let's start there, right? Be that as it may. I'm almost 30 at this time. Young cat in my broadcasting class, like fresh out of high school. Like, so he's like 18. And he's talking about this girl that he really likes. And, you know, on some real stuff, he came to the older dudes in the class for some advice about this girl that he likes, and he was obviously planning on losing his virginity to her. And I let niggas cap right in my face, just lids, hat world, village hat shop, capital letters on the keyboard. It was all cap, all cap. And they was like, yeah, well, what you need to do first, man, you don't want to fuck the girl you like first. You want to go get you some other pussy to get your shoulders to drop, and then you'll be prepared. And I was just, what? And then another one's like, man, because pussy is pussy. I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, and then so I just watched them spout off. They went up for about 10 minutes. And then I walk up and I was like, young homie, first thing I want you to do is not listen to nothing that these niggas are telling you. He was white. And I was like, don't listen to nothing these niggers are telling you. I told it to a white boy. I said, man, take it from somebody that honestly, I'm just doing better numbers than these niggas, bro. Like, I'm just telling you what I know. I was like, man, what you want to do is, like, if you like this girl, I want you to pour into that girl. I want you to really invest your time and your energy into that girl. And you guys should communicate, be on the same page. And she's going to let you know when it's time to take that V card off of her, because she's going to want yours as bad as you want hers. And all of a sudden, everybody was looking like, I was like, yeah. And y'all see that while these two girls was walking over here to me. And I'm still telling you what the real deal is. And I was like, yo, I was like, for real. I was like, don't listen to any of this bullshit. Like, this is bullshit, bro. Do not do this. I was like, you will be setting yourself up for failure, because honestly, when you do sex right, sex is the illest shit you can naturally do with your body, besides maybe getting a six pack. Like, that's probably it. And then I was like, there's nothing iller that you will do naturally than bussing in or on a woman. You'll never feel anything as great as that. Don't waste it on some girl to prep for the girl you actually like. Like, that's stupid shit.
That's crazy.
And then he was like, yeah, it seems like Cam is taking this serious and you guys are fucking playing. I was like, never listen to these niggers, bro. I was like, hard ERS, because I'm dead serious with you, bro. I was like, for real. I was like, listen, man. And then that's when I put him to the side. And I was just like, yo, I was like, listen, I don't know what they talk about. I was like, but yo, my first time was lit. I was like, I'm telling you, like, my shit was lit. And I'm trying to have, and if I could put anything on every young man I've ever met, I'd be like, yo, no. Be like madly in love with this girl. Have her reciprocate that, and y'all plan it together, because it's going to set your trajectory about what you even think about sex in general. Like, it's going to set you up just in a more positive space. Like, I was like, because it's not really cool to be running around sticking your dick in everything. It's not really that cool.
That part.
And I was like, and bro, you know me. I was like, the host is feeling me in this class. And I'm telling you this. I'm not gonna fuck all of them. I'm gonna fuck this one girl. I am gonna fuck her. But I'm like, but yo, I'm not. No way I would do all of them. No way. I was like, and you shouldn't either, bro. I was like, you want the greatest experience possible. You don't want the greatest number possible. I was like, a lot of the guys with a lot of numbers have those numbers because they don't really know what they're doing. And he was set straight on that.
Dude, that was the greatest advice you could have gave to a person, because like me now, as a unk, as they call us, I don't talk about my teenage and 20-year-old life to the young boys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you what not to do.
Facts.
You know, like, I'm not gonna sit my son down and be like, shit, man, your dad had bitches when he was your age.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Bitches. No, my son has had the same girlfriend since the 7th grade. And they still together right now. And I applaud him, and I pat him on the back, and I tell him how proud I am about that, because, bruh, at the way we was told, the way we were encouraged to move,
yeah,
sexually, we all supposed to have something incurable.
Yeah. Hey, man, facts. Say it one more time. They didn't hear you. They didn't hear you.
Bruh,
run that back.
Every last one of us is supposed to have something incurable. Like, who taught you to teach me this bullshit?
Hey,
like, this ain't the 70s no more. This ain't the season of love.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Where we long gone from the days where all you could catch is syphilis. Like, you better get out of here.
Way past that. Bro, I just saw about a year or so ago, they have what they call super chlamydia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got the super version of everything that was light in '98.
Nigga, super gonorrhea. Nigga, like what? Chlamydia on steroids? Like, no. Like, dude, I encourage the young men. No, it's not fuck bitches, get money.
Mm-hmm.
Find you a good girl, good woman. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't need to fuck the village.
No, facts.
Because there ain't no point in it.
Yeah.
Like, you took my whole phase, and I've lived by that for decades. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I'm gonna shut up because you have single-handedly in a 15-minute conversation completed totally debunked my whole theory.
Man, listen, that's dope, because I think that when we say whole phase in general, and now I want to segue into somebody that I want to get your opinion on this person too, because I seen her name pop up a couple times, and somebody and a rapper was speaking very highly about this young lady. We talk about whole phase. To me, that it just sounds unfulfilling. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to be in heat, right? So I think we all get there. You know, everybody has that maybe 1 week, month, or maybe even a year or two where you're just like, yo, I got to get this off. Women feel this way too. They just don't really talk about it as much. But the thing is, though, what unfortunately starts the whole phase is if you don't get what you need the first time. You know what I mean? Like, because if it's really fire, you're not gonna dine and dash. You're not gonna dine and dash like that. You're not out that quick. You're like, you know what, man? Maybe for the summer, at the minimum. Like, hey, maybe for the summer, this might be it. But but you don't really get into that bag of like, yeah, now on to the next one. Because hey, look, I'll keep it so real with y'all. Once my first girl and I broke up, there was two things running through my mind. One, I need to capture that again. And two, the reality of like, you not definitely guaranteed to capture that again. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, I honestly envy the people that were junior high school sweethearts that end up staying together, especially if you've peaked and you've done everything and you were able to withstand time, because man, cheat code. Now, granted, some people do just grow apart. Sometimes communication can be your downfall, but if you get it right, or if you feel you have it right the first time, man, hang on to that, because because you are not guaranteed. It's possible. Don't get me wrong, it's possible. Trust me, it's possible. But you are not guaranteed to get those feelings, all of them, all of your senses, all of them, top to bottom. You're not guaranteed to get it with the next person, no matter who they are, no matter how fine they are, no matter how rich they are. It just may not happen like that for you. So, you know, I think the whole phase per se is the reaction. It's just like, oh damn, I didn't get what I need. So now I gotta find somebody else. Like, this ain't gonna cut it. Like, like this, if this was cutting it, then maybe I'd chill. But it don't cut it. So now I gotta find somebody else. And then eventually, I think you find it. Or how some girls, and I'm sure you've lived through this. I don't want to just put some girls out there that you've been through. I don't want to say that, but so apologies. Every woman in his life, this ain't for y'all. I'm just saying, but like, you like the memes that be funny and be like, oh, she got ran through by everybody, but now she don't want to be a hoe for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, now you don't want to hoe for me. No, bust me down like you did everybody else. But now she wants something, right? She wants something meaningful, and people don't understand. And even I didn't understand this at one point. It was just like, but no, it's because that's how ill you are. She's willing to reel this all in and make you the focus. Now, if you want to do it, now that's on you. But a part of that is what that is. She's in the midst of that quote whole phase, but she found something that, okay, wait a minute, want to hold on to this. And I've been on both sides of that fence. But the one like, yo, you're not getting down like that no more. Nah, this nigga, I just started dating this dude, and you know how it is, Cam. I'm like, no, I don't know how it is. You should. I thought you were gonna say you're on the way. That's what I thought. And I've been on the other side. It's like, yo, but I was like, I know that you mess with, dude them. It's like, yeah, but I don't really like them though. It's like, oh, so that means you like me? Okay.
That's crazy.
Hey, yeah, hey, we having real conversations on Made in the 1980s. This is how a lot of it go, y'all. I promise to God, this is how a lot of it goes. It's just, it's being willing to hear that other side.
Like that's crazy though. It was like, yeah, like I'm gonna give him what you want because I don't like him that much. I'm gonna make you work real hard to get what you want because I like you a lot.
Oh man, hey,
you know what?
Now,
I respect it.
I wish I had a couple of my homegirls. We did an podcast episode years ago now, at least a decade ago now, with some of the homies. And these girls were on here talking, and they're my homegirls too. They're not just random girls, and they're both like married or getting married. They got children now, so we ain't gonna put their names out there. But they were adamant about how, like, yeah, we'll engage, like women will have sex with like niggas they don't care about because that ain't nothing. But the dudes they really like, that's where the switch flip on, and it's like, okay, well, no. Let's build something here. It's like, no, the nigga heard. I was like, no, the nigga heard is fired. Like, he don't care nothing about any of that stuff you talking. They was like, no, it can't go like that. I was like, but it needs to go like that. I was like, if you treated the good dudes like the bum dudes, I guarantee the good dudes will still be the good dudes. Like, yeah. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Like, don't believe these interludes and these skits from these dudes that don't really get none. I was like, if you give me some fire and I like you, you're sold. Self-sabotage
is a motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? Oh man. Last oh wait. I want to say this before I get to the last question of the show. At face value first, when I say the name Superhead, when I say this name Corinne Steffens, what do you think?
International video whore.
Okay. Okay.
Fellatio professional.
Okay. Okay.
Beautiful woman.
For sure.
Beautiful woman. Just, yeah. We'll stay with those three.
All right. So, heard a rapper. Legend, by the way, too. We're going to put respect on his name. I saw a clip of Bow Wow telling, I think it was Cam Newton or it was either Shannon Sharp. It was one of those two. Cam Newton. He said that she is a woman's woman. He called her a woman's woman and says that she comes into your life and she will always implement something that you can use for your life, whether she's in your life or not. To that you say?
I'm going to say Bow Wow said that because I can guarantee. Look, okay, I have another theory. Feel free to do
Let's go.
It's great. I genuinely believe this.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost goes back to the stalker conversation.
Mm.
But older, experienced men should not be putting older, experienced dick on young, inexperienced women, and vice versa.
Got you. Okay.
That woman wouldn't put years of groupie experience on an inexperienced young man, and he will never forget that experience to a point where I'm not gonna put words in his mouth, but like a lot of situations where older women put years of experience on young men that ain't really had no experience, them motherfuckers crash out.
Yeah, not true.
Like, think about it. No older gentleman that woman wrote about in that tell-all book has said anything positive about her. Except for what, Cool G Rap?
Yeah, because and that's and some would say that that's by default since they have a child together.
They have a child together. Nobody has ever been like, oh, but Korea Stephens, man, she's a very beautiful person, man. She's a great lady, man. You got to put some respect. Nobody has said that but him.
Mm.
And he was probably her youngest target.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Like me at the age of 20, 19, 20, yeah, I'm having sex.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the action of having sex.
Yeah, I get you.
But my action of having sex at 18 to 20 don't compare to what I'm capable of doing 35 to 40. Why? I have experience now.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried some things a time or two.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got no business at the age of 35 catching this 18-year-old girl that just lost her virginity 2 years ago and giving her my 35 years of experience.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense.
Because there's nothing that's been done to her that can combat that much experience. That young man don't even realize, okay, you was probably legal, but nigga, she violated you. You were violated, young man. You don't even realize that.
I'm not mad at that take.
And based off of her book, that was the goal. But she knew who she could and couldn't violate. I can't violate him, so let me just get what I can from him while I'm here. Like she was going into these situations like, he violated me, so now I gotta violate him. He ain't violate me, but I know that I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So let me see what I can get out of this good time. Like it was all, what can I get in the moment? I feel like based off of everybody from Mev, Fred Durst, Diddy, Red, whoever, everybody that was in that book. There was a lot of people in that book.
Yeah, for sure.
Bow Wow was her only target. He's young.
What do you
manipulate him the same way everybody else manipulated me? If you want to use that word.
Hey, I'm glad you said that, because that's actually the follow-up question I had. What do you say to the people? Because obviously a lot has changed in the world and in society since that book came out. And what was that, 2005? So like what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
A lot has changed. What do you say to the people now in today's time with her rebrand and all? What do you say to the people that says, well, yeah, you're probably right, but this is a victim getting her redemption on the predatory music industry and the violent, misogynistic, aggressive hip-hop culture that she was in, that this is just her fighting back?
No. And I'm not even going to give that one a long duration of an explanation. I'm going to say no is because if the shoe was on the other foot, and it was this guy that everybody found attractive and women was passing him around, he'd just be a pass around. And if he wrote a book, everybody would be like, why you pillow talking?
Yeah.
Fuck all that.
Yeah.
And like I said, and don't get me wrong, I'm not in the music industry. I don't know how all of that shit work. Maybe you do gotta do some strange things for a piece of change, maybe you do.
Right.
But you also have the ability to say, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, hey, that's how I feel about some of those cases against Diddy. But we'll save that for another show. So I did want to know what you think about that because it kind of fell in line with what we were talking about. Because in the clip I saw, he was even talking about how she taught him how to wash clothes. And I was like, and I seen comments ripping them apart because they was like, yo, your mom is your manager. She didn't teach you how to wash clothes, my nigga. And
But I'll just be saying shit sometimes too, though, man. Him and Ray J got it real bad with just saying shit.
and that's why I was like, I would love to understand where this is going when you say that. Like, I was like, I do have to watch the full episode because maybe there's a cut in there. I don't know. But I do want to hear more of what he had to say since he was so adamant about her being a woman's woman and why.
I personally, and I could be 100% wrong, but I personally feel like it was a situation where an older, more experienced woman did some spectacular things to a young, inexperienced young man, and wow. Okay, yes, I've done this with a groupie chick, and I've done this with a groupie chick, and done this with my girlfriend, but I've never had a person do what she has done.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the difference.
This chick had porn stars tapping out.
Yeah, hey.
She's
Let's never
different.
forget. Let's never forget.
She made Mr. Marcus take his hat off.
and tell them to cut. He's like, wait, hold on.
This man was like, wait.
She was
I am
like,
Mr. Marcus.
that was like, you trying to make me go already. She was like, what? You can't handle it? Yo, that lets you know how ill porn is.
Hey, that is like, come on, like, dude, like she made a guy that got paid to get his dick sucked on a regular. Like, this is what his job is.
Yeah.
So
That
imagine
scene
what
was,
she did to Bow Wow.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yeah, he was prepared for the acting, and then it got super real. He was like, yeah, you can't act your way out of this one. She killing this shit.
He called you and said, hey, he called you for the smoke.
Yeah. Yep.
That's like the video where people show up to people's houses and then get blicked down.
Yep. Yep.
You called me to lose your life?
Man.
That's smart of you, but okay.
Right. Like, hey, man, your funeral, not mine.
But I personally feel like Bow was a victim and he don't realize it.
Powerful. And you know what? I can't dispute that because even though people have been very quiet about her, how glowingly he does speak of her is definitely it's telling. It's telling. You know what I'm saying? Because Wayne obviously feels different. And she reacts to Wayne different than she reacts to Bow Wow. So.
She reacts to Wayne the way Bow Wow reacted to her.
Yeah.
What did she say? I know I'm not going to say it verbatim, but she was like, if Wayne calls me, I don't care who I'm next to, sleeping next to, and or with. I'm answering the phone and I'm going wherever he asks me to go.
Yep. 3 a.m. Even if it means that.
He can call me and say, red eye to New Orleans right now, and she's on the next thing smoking.
Wild.
Bow Wow, in so many words, kind of implemented that same energy towards her.
Yeah, if she ever want me back, I'm going.
If she ever calls me and say, hey, come this way, I'm taking a red eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
The difference between Wayne and Bow Wow is an age gap.
Yeah, for sure.
And experience whereof lack of experience. Bow Wow was a victim.
Yeah, Sorry, Mr. Moss. That's how we feel. Last question before we roll out of here. This is a great episode, by the way. I love this episode off the rip. This is my favorite. I don't care if it do 2 views. This is my favorite episode off the rip. Last question I want to leave with, because we want to leave a gem with the people if we can. Based on this whole conversation, based on just everything that we've said, thought about, maybe even done in our lives, and I think we've touched on it before earlier, pause, but to close out, what will you teach your children based on your experience?
Basically, for my son, like I said, it's okay to be with one woman.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage you to be with one woman. Why? It's less headache. It's safer. And it's really no need for it, especially if you say you love that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wish I would have had somebody in my ear to hit me with that type of information, because I'm pretty sure things would have been a lot different for me.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, basically the same thing. Like, find your person. Make sure that person fucking with you the same way you fucking with them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to leave a situation, or don't be, feeling like you're obligated to stay in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Get with that one person, lock in with that one person, and hope for the best.
Word, I dig it. I dig it.
Like I said, because you completely, totally debunked my whole phase theory. So, but the crazy part is, like I said, if my kids did it, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, because they're my children. I'm not going to encourage it. Like, I've never told my son, fuck bitches, get money.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, I'm never going to tell my daughter, hey, go do dicks. Like, that's never going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
But I've always encouraged them, like, no, just lock in.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never tell my kids about how like, what dad is going to sit around with their son and be like, yeah, I had all the hoes. I was fucking a different bitch every other week. For one, your kid don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah.
2, how are you even comfortable even telling your kid that shit?
Yeah, especially in that crass manner. You know what I mean?
It's like, no, like, my kids, I don't even think my kids even know that I've ever cheated on their mother, unless she told them. Like, why is that a conversation that we're having?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of weird. Be like, yeah, I cheated on your mom. Oh, what's that even a conversation?
Yeah. That's a rough and wild conversation at that.
It's like, no, me and your mom, we didn't work out.
Yeah, and that's that.
That's that.
In a lot of ways, I wish I would have left that conversation as that, but it didn't get presented that way, so I went crazy.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But with that being said, what I would tell, because I only have a daughter, I pray and I hope to have more daughters or more sons, or sons in general, if God allows that. But what I want my children to do, child for sure, children if the future presents itself that way, is just value connection. I think there's a lot of value in connection, value in the love you have for a person or persons. To be probably extremely taboo or not, I am not going to present nor force the idea of monogamy on my children. I'm just not going to do that. But I will absolutely tell them that if you give your body to anybody in any kind of way, you make sure that they respect you, that they care about you, that they love you. And because that connection is what builds the greatest experience. And I only know that because I lived that. I can't give you another thing. Like, I've had meaningless sex, so I don't want to be naive of that. You know, I've had very meaningless sex. I've had, well, you know, I guess I like her sex, or I've had the aspect of, uh, well, I just want to have this kind of sex, but nothing has ever trumped the great connection, the great sexual connections, and those relationships. You know, I only count myself as being in 3 real relationships in my entire life. So so even with that, and I married 2 of those girls. So, you know what I'm saying? So I also
Right.
want to say that. You dig what I'm saying? Like and even though um I even though one of those instances I definitely suppressed a lot of who I knew I was and was just maybe afraid or ashamed to say it. As far as just sexual desires and things like that. I think that it's still just great to be just open, be honest, be communicative, and to make sure that you're really giving yourself a partner and not just a body. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that's for men or women. I think that is universally um like coherent. You know what I'm saying? That's universally comprehensible. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I would encourage my children or any child. Look, hey, look, if you happen to be a YN or just a young person that's listening that came across this episode for one reason or another, um, please take these words that we are both given, because I think this is sound logic. You know, you're fed a lot of information through music, through movies, through your friends that ain't really getting no box like that. I'm just keeping it real with you. They not. And they leading some of y'all astray. Um, you want you want the kind of feeling that made Smokey Robinson write each day through my window. I watch her as she passes by. Like you want that. You want to feel that, even though that kind of feels like stalkerish the more you get into the verse. But you know what I'm saying? Like you want to feel how Stevie Wonder wrote Inner Visions and and Hotter Than July. You want to feel like that. You want to feel like you're gonna make Ribbon in the Sky. You do like you do. You want to feel like Babyface when he saw Boys the Men in the studio and they just started writing "I'll Make Love to You." Like you want to feel like that. And I just encourage you all to be safe out there. Look, y'all got new strains of the old diseases that we survived. Not for nothing, this world is so stressful, and more kids are on the spectrum because of poor health decisions, poor diet decisions. So even with that, man, I really do encourage y'all to be in happy, healthy relationships, be happy, healthy beings and happy, healthy relationships so you can produce happy, healthy babies if that's what you want to do. And just know that a lot of this is nonsense. There is no stat sheet. Your stat sheet, your body count, it should never matter to a real one, but you should never be running it up for the sake of saying anything about yourself, because you're not great at sex because you've had sex with 100 people. You're not bad or inexperienced at sex if you only know 2 to 3. So take that as you wish. That's what she said. And thank y'all for tuning into this episode of Making the 1980s. I mean, man, we sincerely appreciate y'all. Hey, I'm sorry, Wang. Last words. Last words.
Oh no, hey, some shit don't need to be stepped on.
Hey, there we go. So, hey, man, hey, look, we appreciate y'all for checking out this episode. We hope that you have been edutained. You know what I'm saying? We hope we've given you some great perspective, some great insight, some great conversation. Hey, look, Black parents, and we only talking about Black parents because we Black. Talk to your kids about sex like the real way, the responsible way, the respectful way, please. They all need it, even ours. All right. So thank you for listening. We appreciate you for tuning in, and know that always and consensually, especially after this episode,
Especially.
consensually It's love.